Hi, guys. Exciting news for season 4. The Thrive Tribe newsletter is for everyone and it's free.
To sign up for our newsletter and to get more out of Chasing Brighter and engage with our amazing community, go to chasingbrighter.com/newsletter to get the latest updates.
And every month we have freebies, so check it out.
Welcome to the Chasing Brighter podcast, the podcast created as a guide to make midlife the best life.
Are you ready to embrace the next chapter of your life with confidence and excitement? Your best life is just a listen away. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Superwoman Diaries, in this segment where we interview the super women in our lives. And today I have Sarah Bolor, LCSW. She's a licensed clinical social worker in Nevada and Montana and founder of Say It Mental Health, where she helps high-achieving women break free from burnout, perfectionism, and people-pleasing so they can succeed without sacrificing their mental health. With over a decade of experience, Sarah blends clinical expertise with a bold, relatable approach that empowers women to set boundaries, quiet negative self-talk, and create lives that feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. Before entering private practice, she built her career across diverse areas of social work, including foster care, acute medical settings, the public defender's office, hospice care, and crisis response following the October 1st mass shooting in Las Vegas. These experiences shaped her perspective and fueled her passion for guiding ambitious women from survival mode to sustainable success. Welcome, Sarah. I'm so excited to have another LCSW.
I know. I love it.
I think it's such a great background and great degree. I have a varied background before private practice as well.
I think it's important. It really helps shape you as a clinician and just gives you a very well-rounded perspective when providing that clinical work or service.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What inspired you to go out on your own and specialize in working with high-achieving women?
So I have been involved in a group practice pretty much since I started my clinical internship, and it has been such an amazing experience. The group practice is wonderful here in Las Vegas. I just wanted to really niche down and solely build a private practice for women, high-achieving women who are experiencing some of these things that I was seeing in a few of my clients that I saw at the group practice. They were my favorite clients, and I just really wanted to work with them all the time.
Yes. Did you watch anything or read anything that inspired that, or that was just your instinct of the days you were loving to go to work?
It really just came from the days that I was loving going to work, the days where I saw the biggest gains in my clients. I think I saw a little bit of myself in some of these clients too, where I always say, oh, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm like the recovering girl that used to say, I'm fine, or was labeled as the good girl. And then seeing that in clients and just being able to help them reach their goals or their milestones or their changes that they wanted to make in session. That was just who I love working with and who I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, I love it. I had to go, I kind of joined a coaching group. I was finding that I was having days of work that I didn't want to go in. And I was like, what is going on? And so I joined this group and they had me answer all these questions and kind of create, I think I might have said the word avatar, right? Just create, what are your favorite clients and who you loved working with. And it wasn't just, I think that's what you're saying too. It's not just oh, I like this client. It's who I was doing good work with, who we were progressing and meeting our goals. And then there were just some certain types or diagnoses that we weren't seeing progress. And it's it feels good in the sign of work when you're making progress.
Yeah, it's a more organic and natural progression in care. And I just feel like that connection is stronger. Their therapeutic benefit is bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to get into kind of trends that you're seeing and maybe top tips that you have. But first, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your background, where you grew up, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I originally am from Western New York. I'm from Buffalo, just outside of Buffalo. And my parents relocated to Las Vegas when I was 12. I came with them, obviously.
Big change.
Yeah, huge
Do you have
change.
siblings?
I have a younger sister. She is much younger than me. So she was only 3 when she moved, so it wasn't
Okay.
as hard for her, but for me, it was definitely a big change. And then I went to high school out here. I am a UNLV alum for both my undergrad and master's program.
Mhm.
My husband and I both went to UNLV and we met working just like in the community. And then I entered foster care and I worked for a private treatment level foster care agency here in town. And that was kind of like my initial exposure, I would say, to like the social work field,
Mhm.
social service options. I was still in my undergrad at this point. I stayed there for a little while and then I ended up on working in a hospital here, Sunrise Hospital, and their acute rehab for a bit. And then my husband and I moved to Boston. So that was like a big change for us. We lived in Boston. I worked at the public defender's office there, and that was just really life changing professionally. It was a
What kind of work were you
huge
doing there?
I was a social service advocate.
Okay.
So for the clients that they were representing, I worked with them on any type of social service need they had. That may have been a mitigating report or mitigation report. It may have been securing them in services, interviewing their family members to assist with any sentencing issues or matters that they had coming up. It was a really great experience. It definitely changed, I think, some of my perspectives as part of
Yeah.
like the social work field, right? So it changed my
Yes.
perspective on the judicial system.
Yeah. I always like, I'm a hardcore MSW. Like, I think that the master's in social work is like the best degree
Yeah.
ever. I've depending on what you want to do, but just because of that, because you can do so much work, and I have friends all over the world doing all different kinds of stuff. And so I think if you get bored with what you're doing, you have so many options of things that you can do.
I completely agree. And I don't know if I realized that when I entered the field or the
Yeah.
program, right? I don't know if I realized that, but now I'm like, oh, there are so many options. And
Yeah.
even now, right? Like pursuing my own private practice, there's even more options than I knew about.
Yeah, absolutely. I got into so if you are fortunate to go to college and you can experiment with different things, that's something that I was able to do. I joke that I changed my major. My mom laughs. I change my major every week because
Yeah.
I'm very impressionable. And so I would see this professor and be like, oh my God, that professor is amazing. I want to do what they do. And so I changed my major a lot. And I had a friend that was really into volunteering. And she was like, let's go. I'm going to go volunteer. She was from New Jersey. I'm from Kansas. She was like, let's go volunteer. They'll pay for everything if we volunteer and work at a homeless shelter. We can go to San Diego for the summer. And I was like, that sounds amazing. And so we go, and she ends up working like 9 to 5 in the medical clinic. And I end up working with homeless families and have a life changing experience. And I went back to school, volunteered with the homeless, took all these classes on homelessness. And I still didn't even know that there was a bachelor's of social work or a master's in social work. And I went out in the world and started working in a homeless shelter. And all these women had their MSWs and they all were doing different things. One was writing grants, one was running the program, one was a therapist. And so then to further my career, I was like, oh, I've got to go to grad school and learn more about it. What inspired you to go into a field to help others?
So, very similar to you, I had a friend who told me we can go to Europe and volunteer and we could just go to Europe. So, it was like the summer after I graduated high school and I was like, well, I want to do that. And so I volunteered in England and worked at like a kids camp for 3 or 4 weeks. And I just was like, I think this is what I want to do. Like, I'm going to commit to this. And so I came back and entered the social work program and never looked back.
Yeah, yeah, that's so funny. That's so similar.
Yeah.
What's your friend doing now?
She works for the IRS now. So,
That's so
whole
funny.
different.
I'm trying to think. My friend ended up like a buyer. Like she was in
Oh,
fashion. She works
really?
in like Manhattan. That's
Yeah,
like a buyer. So that's so funny. And they were the good-hearted ones that got us
I
into
know.
this work.
Yeah.
And so do you feel, so this is interesting. So we went to Philadelphia. My husband went to medical school and we lived in Philadelphia. And on the East Coast, there's a very high concentration of universities. And
Mhm.
I know in Philadelphia and Boston. And so there were so many resources for social work. Like when I was working there, it was just like a plethora of knowing, oh, okay, you can go to this place, you can go to this place, you can go to this place. Was that your experience? And how does that compare to the Las Vegas area?
So that is very much the experience in Boston. There's so many universities, there's so much going on. There were so many more resources, and things were a little bit easier accessible for the population that I was working with in
Yeah.
that moment. And I was working in lower income communities. It was, Roxbury, Dorchester of the surrounding area of Boston. They
Yeah.
have faced a lot of adversity throughout their time, the communities itself and the residents. And
Yeah.
so I was kind of blown away. Like, coming from Las Vegas, it's just a newer city. The resources are newer. It's not as big. There's not as much history. There's not as many universities here. It just seemed like they had so much more
Yeah.
than from what I had come from.
Yeah. I always call it the Wild West.
Yeah,
I worked at
same.
Boys Town doesn't exist here anymore, but I worked at Boys Town for a little bit a few years ago.
Yes.
And so I was trying to network or just get different things for the kids. And it was there wasn't anything.
I kind of described it like, oh, there's a lot of like mom and pop places,
Yeah. Yeah.
agencies that like would pop up, and especially in foster care and things like that. So that was like a very different world when I moved to Boston. It was
Yeah.
eye-opening. It
Yeah.
was great. It was so important for me to do that, and I really feel like I was meant to go there. I was meant to work in this community, to have these different jobs and this type of exposure.
Absolutely. And then what brought you guys back to Vegas?
So we started a family, and my parents lived out here. My husband was born and raised in Las Vegas, and we just wanted our children to be closer to their grandparents. And we just also needed the help. The cost of living is much higher in Boston than it is here in Las
Yeah.
Vegas, especially this is over 10 years ago at this point. So we just needed to be closer to our family. And I came back, and then I had started working at Sunrise Hospital in their emergency room as a social worker. That is also the wild, wild west.
Yes. We lived I've lived all over the place, my goodness. But when I was in California, the way that it was responded to with children who were abused and neglected is very different in Nevada. And so
Mhm.
I would make a report, and in Nevada, I had a social worker say, "What do you want me to do about it?"
Yeah. Oh, that is the question. That's a standard question they ask. Yes.
I was like, go protect the
Investigate.
children,
Make sure
please.
everybody's safe so I can sleep at night.
Yes. So transitioning into parenthood. So you have children now.
I do.
How old are your children?
So I've had 3 kids. I have a 10-year-old, and then I experienced an infant loss, and then I have a 6-year-old as well.
Yes. Yes. So how has that been transitioning from working and then being a working mother?
Well, it's been overwhelming to say the least,
Yeah.
right? So I had worked always when my oldest son was born. I had just always had, like a foster care job or more of a traditional job, 8 to 5, clocking in 9 to 5, whatever it might be. And after my first son was born, I quickly realized, oh, this isn't going to work for me anymore. I wanted to make
Yeah.
a change. And for the first few years, it was okay. And then when he started school, and it still is important for me to be involved and to have that professional autonomy and be able to kind of pick him up from school or drop him off or be at his activities, which that really prompted me to want to pursue my clinical license and a
Yeah.
few other things, right? Like other life
Yeah.
experiences. I think I was ready to move on and start that.
And you mentioned experiencing the loss of an infant.
Um,
How was the grieving process for you? And I'm just interested if you feel like that is something that has been supported for you.
I do. I was diagnosed, or I was pregnant, and my daughter was diagnosed with trisomy 18, which is a chromosomal disorder and similar to Down syndrome. We learned in my pregnancy that the diagnosis is not compatible with life, and so we decided to continue the pregnancy, and then when she was born, she was placed on hospice care. And at that same time, I was working at Sunrise. I was working in the hospital, and I had a really great relationship with some of the NICU social workers and the doctors and the palliative care team. So making those initial decisions was something I felt very supported. I
Yeah.
really felt fortunate. I had a great doctor, a very strong high risk provider. And I just felt like my decisions were supported and people were wanting to make sure I had the best possible experience. So, in terms of
Yeah.
grieving, I felt like I had great support. I have great friends, great family. My husband and I were on the same page. And that little girl, like, changed my life. She
Yeah.
has definitely contributed to who I am today and why on why I do things.
Yeah. It's so interesting. We've talked a little bit about grief on the podcast, and we read Joan Didion's book, The Year of Magical Thinking. And we've talked before, like we have an episode coming up. Unfortunately, our cousin passed away who is our age and we were close with her. And I just feel like there's not a lot of support for grief. And, I mean, I only know my experience in the United States where it's like, I run my own business and my sister runs her own business. We were able to go to the funeral. My
Yeah.
husband would never get off for his wife's cousin's funeral. How, like, I remember his grandmother died and they were like, you only get off work if your spouse or a parent dies. And that's
Yeah.
it. And there's like, and you get like 48 hours.
So I will say, in terms of that type of support or even community resources, I think it's lacking,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I just was really fortunate to
Yeah.
be
You
in
were
the
working at
position I
the
was.
hospital, which
I
is
was working in the
amazing.
hospital. I still was eligible for FMLA, right? So I
Yeah.
still was able to take all of that time off, which is what helped me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you're working with your clients, do you think motherhood impacts a high achieving woman? Or do you think that's kind of the same prototype of a high achieving woman, whether or not they're a parent or not?
I don't think they have to be a parent to be a high achieving woman. I think, you know, many women, regardless on their choice to start a family in any way that it might look for them, is still high achieving and still in overdrive. And what it really comes down to is their self-worth and their values and their belief systems. And I think that's common regardless on if they have a family or not.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to ask, if you're a high achieving woman, I'm just making assumptions. So you tell me if I'm defining a high achieving woman. If you're someone that's kind of like type A and into perfectionism, if you are a high achieving woman who is also a mother, does that play out not just in the work, but in their relationships and their role as a mother?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's showing up in all areas of your life.
Mm-hmm. And
This
so, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, this mental place or emotional space of being in overdrive, right? So that's just going to go with whatever's occupying your time and your day and your space. And for me, right, it's my kids and my husband, my business, other partnerships that I have here in town. If I didn't have those, right, I'd be filling it with something else because I have that high achieving personality trait.
Yes.
Character.
And so, how is that? Are you seeing it kind of cause dysfunction in your clients' lives?
So I think first, it definitely impacts the quality of relationships that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they may not be as present with their kids as they want to be. And then therefore their kids might not be as close or forthcoming and their communication might be lacking. They may not be as present with their partners. So it's impacting their bond, their sex life, their just even drive to spend time with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the podcast for the month of October, we're talking about confidence is your costume. And we're talking a
Hmm.
lot about internal dialogue, how to set boundaries and stop people pleasing.
Yeah,
So are you also finding are you familiar with the Enneagram
I'm
personality
not.
test? We took, like, in season 1, Kelly and I took the Enneagram personality test, and I wasn't familiar with it. I think there's 9 personality types, and I'm the achiever. And the achiever is someone who does not believe in unconditional love. Like, they believe they only receive love or they are worthy by
Right.
achieving.
Hmm.
And so I'm kind of a psycho, and we followed my journey on the podcast of, like, me being able to, like, not do
Work through
things.
that.
Well, because I love working. And
Yeah.
so I'm saying, I love this. I love working. And so untangling like that you don't have to earn rest, all the reels and stuff they're telling us you don't have to earn rest and that you can just be is very uncomfortable for me.
Right.
And so, and I, but I'm good at boundaries. I'm good at boundaries. I set aside time. I make my own schedule. I'm not working all the time. I clock out, go get my kids from school. But I think it can be really uncomfortable um, to not be achieving,
Oh, yeah, 100%, right? Because that's what fuels our self-worth, our self-confidence. It makes us feel good inside. We feel accomplished. All of those things
Yeah.
come out. The tricky part is sometimes clients will come to me and they'll be like, all of this is going on. And I just, like, I don't know why, right? And so it will take a little bit of time to really figure out what is their underlying belief regarding self-worth and how is that tied to their daily behaviors, right? Before it really resonates, usually like I can pick up on it rather quickly, but before
Yeah.
they really can digest and accept, like, this is why, like, this is happening.
Yeah. What are things do you find maybe yourself repeating to a lot of your clients? Like, what are kind of your top tips or strategies to help with someone who is, feeling overwhelmed with that to-do list, feeling overwhelmed, kind of having themselves spread so thin?
So typically I'll have clients really go over, okay, what are your priorities and your values? And then basing your to-do list off of that, right? So I often say, like, I don't believe in balance. I don't think that exists. And there's never going to be this ideal schedule because something's always going to come up. So
Yeah.
clients will come to me and they'll be like, oh, I'm never getting things off, like my to-do list is never ending. Well, how many things are on it? Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thing we talk about is let's set tomorrow today, right? So like before you're going to sleep, before you're kind of like doing your nighttime routine, tell me three things or write down three things you want to accomplish in the next day, and that's enough.
Yeah.
So having this idea of this is enough and this is okay because the laundry's never going to end. These household tasks don't end. There's always going to be another to-do list or deadline at work. So really being able to have them accept this idea that this is enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I like the word balance, but I know what you're saying. Like, it's not going to be an everyday thing, right? Or
Right.
like, I love Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes. And she
Mhm.
says, when I'm killing it at work, I'm failing as a mom.
Yeah.
And when I'm killing it as a mom, I'm failing at work. And so it's more kind of like, it's not going to look like every day I did 50%
Right.
mothering and 50% whatever. But I think of balance of more that you're balancing maybe the energy that you're putting out and then maybe what you're filling back into yourself. You know what I mean? But I do think I
Yeah.
remember watching a woman juggling plates and she's like, you know how you get balance? And she just like smashed all the plates. And I was like, there's no such thing as balance.
Right.
And
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you can really look at what you value, what your goals are, and making sure that's aligned, you're going to be able to commit whatever time you're dedicating to your family and being present, you're going to be able to be 100% in that moment.
yeah.
And then you'll be 100% at work, right? Kind of working through some of that.
Yeah. What are some routines or habits that you're into, as a business owner, wife, mother, all the hats you wear? What are some things that you have in place to help you feel your best?
So, first and foremost, I love the mornings. I love to awake before everybody else, and I wanna start my day with, like, a slower morning, so I wanna have my cup of coffee and read my book or scroll on social media or just sit there and not have to do anything before I need to get anything else done.
Yeah.
That's kinda, like, one of my most favorite ways to start my day. When I do, I always feel like I have a good day. I'm in a pretty positive mindset,
Mhm.
and I'm really committed to my personal activities that bring me so much joy. So I love playing tennis. I play here on 2 different leagues, and I love to go to Pilates, and so I make time for that. And when I do, I'm a better version of myself for every other aspect of my
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
and
I've
home life.
heard tennis is a way of life.
It is so addicting, and it is so competitive, and I'm like, "This is recreational tennis here," but I just keep showing up because I like it so much, and it's, like, such a physical release because you're hitting the ball, right?
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to win, so I love it so much. I could play
So
every day.
do you do tournaments?
No, like, I'm not that good, like, this is rec tennis here in Las Vegas,
So
but I do play on a
yeah.
women's league, 2
Okay,
women's
so
leagues.
you're in, like, a league and you're doing singles?
I play doubles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then did you go down a rabbit hole of outfits?
So, yes, sometimes I do, and, like, the outfit thing is a big deal when we have a match,
Yeah.
and, like, you coordinate with your partner who's wearing what, and the other
Okay.
team's always coordinating, so it's a big deal.
Yeah. No, I've heard it is. I have a good friend and, her oldest is I think he'll be 19. No, he'll be 20 this year, but when they were really young, she said she really got into tennis and that it was like a lifestyle and it was,
It
you
is.
know yeah.
I know, I have, like, a lot of sports apps for my sons, right? They play
Uh,
sports, and then I have my own tennis app, and it's, like, always going off, and I'm like, "I don't know if I'm coming or going to these clinics sometimes." There's so many
yes.
messages.
Yes. I love the outfits, so I would wanna just get outfits. I'm trying to think if I never got into tennis. My sister, all of a sudden, she, in high school, went to tennis camp for the summer and got a tennis racket and was, like, gonna do tennis, and I had to take it in PE in college, but I don't know if I'd be any good at tennis at this time, but it sounds fun. I'm very competitive.
Well, if you're competitive, then it's definitely a good sport for you, and,
Yeah.
I actually didn't play as a kid or in high school, so I just picked it up as an adult. I was, like, in my mid-30s, I felt like I needed a hobby,
Yeah.
and I needed to do something for myself, and so I just started taking tennis lessons and haven't looked back.
Yes, absolutely. I think, I'm a person so I'm a mom of 3. My kids are, 17, 14, and 10, and I totally lost myself in motherhood and lost who I was. And one of the things that I've been doing the last maybe 5 years, so I do reformer Pilates, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I do strength training and weightlifting, and that is something that is just mine. Just
Yeah.
having something that's just yours and a place, yeah, that's not like it's just for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. And I just having that sliver of myself has made me so happy.
I agree, and so I love Legree Pilates, or I go to Legree Lab, which is a Pilates studio essentially here in town, and it's like that's my nice, like, quiet, social I don't really or not social, quiet activity where I don't have to socialize, and then tennis is more of my, like, social there's a lot of women, it's
Yeah.
chatty, I get, like,
Yeah.
both the best worlds.
Yeah. I have and I love a small gym. Dr. Frank Lipman, who wrote How to Be Well, talks about how great it is for us to have like a small place that we go and then they'll touch you, they'll say hi to you, and I've
Right.
met a lot of friends there. And another mom talk we talk about, I have a friend that invited me to Orange Theory. So this is my next thing where I might be doing Orange Theory. Have you ever done Orange Theory?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of the women love it, and they just go and enjoy it, and it's almost a little addicting, I've heard.
Yeah, it was. And I felt like it was all the thing like 10 years ago.
Yes.
So, but I'm competitive and there's like, I don't know how I would, but they guess they like list your heart rate up on a board or something.
Mm.
I might be
So you're like, "I'm
attempting a
gonna
heart
win it?"
attack, but I was like, I've got to get the hardest heart rate. I don't know. I'm kind of crazy. I did CrossFit for a while about 10 years ago. And I went with a friend and she was like, you're psycho. Like they start the time and I'm like, bye, like eat my dust. I like turn into a different person, which is fun.
But
I
it's
know.
kinda
That's fun.
nice, right? Like, it's nice for that part of your personality to come out a little bit and have an
Yeah.
opportunity to, like, shine.
Yeah, I think so many times, I know I'm the tail end of Gen X, beginning millennial, and I don't know, I think women were programmed to be givers and to sacrifice and to do everything. And my mom worked one, sometimes two jobs, would like make cookies and decorate the house. And so our model was work all the time, do everything, be everything to everybody, and have like nothing for yourself.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's definitely why the ladies I work with, it just really resonates, right? It's definitely there's a need because a lot of these ladies were often referred to like the good girl, right? So I always say like to be a good girl is my least favorite word in the vocabulary, just because
Yeah.
it really is showing your self-worth is based off of what this feedback is.
It's so funny. Do you think that the good girl pushes buttons, saying the good girl? Do you think that pushes people's buttons? Because I know
Oh,
who I
I
was
think
saying
people
that
don't like
to.
it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
turns people off. And I really try hard not to say like, "Oh, be a good," I have 2 boys, right? So I'm like, "Don't be a good boy," or "Be a good boy." I try really hard to not use that word when I'm talking to them and giving them feedback,
Yeah. Yeah.
or "Make a good decision."
Yes. It's so hard. It's so hard parenting wise.
Yeah.
We have to be careful of all the words we have to be careful of now,
Yeah, and
too.
I'm always like, "Oh, am I transferring this onto my kids?"
Yes. Well, and it's one of the things that's really important to me because I have two boys as well, is that it's so interesting. My daughter oldest already, and she overfunctions for everyone. And I
Mhm.
don't want her to overfunction for everyone. And I tell her not to overfunction for everyone. So she'll do all their chores because she just everything done and she just does all the things. And with my 14-year-old, he's an incredible athlete and very smart. And our new thing is, how did you contribute to the family? So he's like, I have homework. I had practice all day. Okay. Those are very important. But contributing to our family is just as important. And also, you are not going to be a spouse that is not doing laundry and
Or
cooking and being 50%.
100%. I always say, like, that's my biggest job as a mom is to make sure I'm not raising, like, an asshole or,
Yes.
for the lack of a better word, like, someone who can't do anything or can't help out with their
Yes.
partner.
Do you see that a lot with your clients where they're expected to do all the things at home as well?
Surprisingly, I would say it's about 50%.
Yeah.
I think there are some really amazing relationships out there, and I think
It's great.
women are really catching up and advocating for themselves, and so do think in some yes, absolutely in some cases, but then there's also these women who have really selected amazing partners and are
Yeah.
doing big things in their relationships and changing things.
Yeah.
Right? I've had 2 or 3 clients recently who've come to me and said, "My husband or my partner is in therapy, and they've encouraged me to go back to therapy and to work on this stuff."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, like, that's a big shift in our
Yes.
community, and I, like,
Yes.
love to hear that. I think it's so great.
It's amazing. And it is. And on the other hand, it's also amazing when I'll talk to a client and say the mental load and they've never heard that word in their whole entire life. And it
Yeah.
like blows their mind.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we've got to like figure out how we can bring our partner up into assisting with the
Right.
things too, you know? Are there any other tips you have for our listeners or anything else you think that will be helpful for them in their routines or daily life?
So I think the biggest thing to really look at is how we're talking to ourselves, right? Especially when we might not be able to achieve something. If it's being present for our kids' school party or something with our partners, a deadline at work, really looking at what is that narrative? What is that story we're telling ourselves? And I'm a huge like post-it therapist. I always am like, I love a good post-it. I like for you to rewrite these negative self-talk or this deprecating statement on this post-it and put it places where you're going to see it every day. So it might be your bathroom, it might be your laptop, it might be the screen in your car, just as like a soft reminder. And I think just having it being fresh in your mind every single day helps hold us accountable. So
So
like that's an easy strategy.
yeah, so reframing the negative thought into something positive, encouraging, and
That you
posting it all
believe,
over.
right?
Yeah,
Essentially, we have to believe it for it to be effective. But I guess the real tip is that's a very common strategy, but my real tip is put it places where you're going to see it every day.
yeah,
Put it places so it's fresh. Set that phone alarm, put it on your computer, put it in your car, put it on your fridge, in your bathroom mirror, whatever it might be, so it really resonates.
yeah, absolutely. I love that. What are you reading, watching, listening to these days?
So, I am a big audio fan. I love audiobooks,
Same.
and I love to do, like, one personal, professional development, maybe a month, and then I just wanna read for pleasure. But,
Yeah.
like, love a good rom-com, I love a good smut book, whatever it's gonna be to kind of just be enjoyable. I
Hmm.
have just started The Signs by Dr. Tara Swart.
Okay.
That is such a good book. It just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's
Okay.
about really learning how to trust your instinct and kind of the neuroscience behind it, and I love that. Like, it's so good. I'm, like, halfway through, and I have maybe an hour and a half left. It's an easy listen.
Yeah. Did you read the Fourth Wing series?
So I didn't. I don't know. I have, like, a little
Oh,
hard
did you
time,
listen?
like, I
Did you listen
started
to it?
listening. I
Okay.
started listening and then, like, had a hard time getting into it. Is that a
So,
series you enjoy?
Kelly, my sister and co-host, so I read it and
Mhm.
she listened and she exclusively does audio and I do both. Like I listen
Yeah.
and read. And she said I hated it. And so she hated, I think she was talking about the angst of the main character. I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't get that. So she went and read it. And then she said, I'm so glad you told me to go back to it because reading it was so much better.
Okay. So I need
Isn't
to
that
try it.
interesting? Yes.
It is
That's
interesting.
so
Well,
interesting because, yeah, I
the
don't normally
voices
notice
can,
that
like,
much of a
make or
difference.
break it.
Yes. Yes. And I don't normally it's like, wow, what everyone was saying that the Fourth Wing performances and the audio were so amazing. What I do is usually I do like the self-help, hard, whatever, intense books and audio format. So when I'm
Mhm.
driving around, all that kind of stuff. And then at night, I read my Kindle. And then that's when I read. I love contemporary romance, smutty books, all that kind of stuff. And there was just a research that was coming out about contemporary romance. I don't know if you caught that. Like there was an
Oh, I
article
didn't.
about how it's really soothing. And so you know what's going to happen. In these books, everything's wrapped up in a nice little bow at the end. And so it's really soothing for us and it reduces stress and anxiety and is positively impactful for our mental health to read books that we know everything's going to be okay at the end.
Oh, I love that. It's like a, Hallmark Christmas movie.
That's
It's, like, the
yeah.
best thing to watch. It's so
Yes,
nice and
and I need
refreshing.
that, and you need like I have a friend and her and we call it brain candy. Like I need some brain candy in between all of the self-improvement stuff.
Yeah, because there's only so much, right? I only have so much space to take all that information in, and I often feel like there's so much information out there. If I'm not staying on top of it, I feel like I'm behind, but then I'm miserable because I'm reading it, so I just decided to be
Yeah.
okay with one professional development book a month.
No, that's good. That's good. And it also depends on what it is. Some of them I think are easier to read or listen to than others. And there are some that I'm just chipping away at still. I'm like, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna do it.
I
They're heavy.
completely agree. I have, like, 7 professional development books open where I'm like, "Oh, I have, like, 45 minutes left," and I just, like, can't get through it.
Yes. Yes, and this is my journey, as my trying to break free of my achieverness, is that I'm like, "You don't have to do that right now. You don't have to finish it's okay to not finish a book. You can go do this. It's okay." And so,
It's
like,
okay to just put it down.
for me to not finish a book is a big deal. I used to force myself to do that. And then are you watching anything or listening to any podcasts or anything?
So, I'm not a big TV watcher. I haven't watched anything, I don't think, in a long time. Nothing, like, really I always get, like, sad when the series is over, right? So, like,
So true.
I loved Outlander,
Mhm.
and I was, like, so into Outlander, and then, like, now I have to wait 2 years for the final second half of the season, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I lose
Are they
interest."
still so I just got into Outlander. So I'm just starting, I think, season 3. So are they going it's still going?
So, there's 1 more season left.
Okay.
From the last, like, time I looked, I believe there's 1 more season or half a season left of the series,
Yeah.
and I just don't know when it'll come out, but I love that series. That's probably one of
I'm
my
at
favorites.
the part I don't know if that's season 3 where she came back. It just starts with her back with her husband in the
Back
40s.
in
And
Yes.
I don't know yet how she got there or what the hell happened. But I'm surprised at that there is so much rape in that show.
Oh my gosh. It is,
Like every
like, so
episode.
and it is so
It's
real when you're like
intense. It's
it
intense.
is
So when he was in prison,
probably the
it
most
took me like
intense.
5 attempts to watch because I was like,
Yeah.
this is so
I could, like, barely keep my eyes open. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yes, and that's why I always tell everybody, like, because my youngest finds me all over the house no matter where I'm at. It's like I can't watch those
Right.
kind of shows because he'll run in. Everyone will leave me
Always.
alone. All of a sudden, he'll run in right when there's sexual assault or something happening or something. So it
Yeah, and it's so,
takes me a
like,
long time.
For
to
real.
finish it.
I know. But that's a
Yes.
good series and it only gets better, in my opinion.
Did you read any of the books?
I I think I tried to read the first one, but I didn't really get through to it. Did you?
No, I knew it was a series, but surprisingly, because I read so much, I love to read something and then watch it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a nerd, I
I
guess. I
watched
don't know.
I read the whole Bridgerton series, and now I'm still waiting like 4 years later for the next season to come out.
Yes. Yes. So Bridgerton was a book series before it was a show then?
Yeah.
I know I'm like 10 years behind. Okay. I love Bridgerton, the shows. I love those.
Yeah,
So
and the
now I
books
should
are
go read.
even I would say the books are really good.
I bet. Well, the book's always better. You know,
Always.
it's always better.
I
So
know, like Colleen Hoover's recent movie.
yes. Which one?
Um,
Oh,
the
Verity? No.
no,
Oh, It Ends With Us.
I know that was such a terrible movie, I thought, and the book was so good.
Yes.
And
And
then
my
everything that came after.
Yes, it's so yeah, no, there's so much drama after. I was even the other day reading on Reddit because I was still confused at what the drama was that was happening. But my daughter read it. I got her into Colleen Hoover, and we were so excited, and we went together. And that was one of the first times I think that she had read, not like like not Hunger Games or something.
Mhm.
And she was so upset, and she was like, "But this happened, and this happened, and this happened." I was like, "Exactly, like the book's always better."
I know. I
Yeah.
don't feel like they did that one justice.
Well, especially like, I don't know, for me now, what bothers me, because maybe, I don't know, I'm a homeowner, an adult, and I have to buy clothes and everything. She was like the struggling student, right? And had
Yes.
no money. And so every time I would see her outfits, I was just like, she can't afford that.
Yeah,
Can't afford those
I
clothes.
know.
Can't
Looking
afford
the
that
best and
apartment.
then buying a building in Boston, and I was like,
Yeah. Yes. It's like, I can't afford that couch. How does she have the couch she's supposed to be? I would love to have that apartment. But anyway, where can our listeners find you?
So they can follow along on Instagram at Say It Mental Health, or they can check out my website, sayitmentalhealth.com. I have freebies, definitely geared towards my high achieving ladies and helping them say no.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. If you loved today's episode, share with a friend. Are you ready to chase brighter days ahead? Subscribe to Chasing Brighter now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.